I lay on the damp grass gasping for air, my body trembling from adrenaline. My mind raced as I tried to make sense of what had just happened. The dorm, the sleepwalkers, that thing in the water. I pushed myself up, scanning the darkness for any sign of movement. The campus was so quiet, as if the world had paused while I'd been down there. The few remaining streetlights flickered weakly. It was hard to believe that just minutes ago I'd been surrounded by dozens of my dorm mates. Now they were all gone. I needed help. Someone had to know what was going on. But who would believe me? I reached into my pocket for my phone. My hands were shaking so badly it almost slipped from my grip. No signal. Of course, I was on my own, for now. The old building was behind me, its dark windows almost like empty eyes watching my every move. I knew I couldn't leave Lucy and the others down there, not without a fight. But what could I do? Go back into that hellish place alone? Face whatever was in that pool again? A rustle in the bushes made me jump. My head snapped toward the sound. My legs buckled beneath me, but I saw nothing. Probably just my imagination, or a squirrel. I forced myself to breathe, trying to calm the frantic beating of my heart. But then the rustling grew louder, closer. I backed up, every nerve in my body screaming to run. But before I could move, a figure emerged from the shadows. "Lucy?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. She stepped into the faint light, her eyes wide and unfocused. Her clothes were soaked, dripping with the same black liquid from the pool. But something was wrong, terribly wrong. Her skin was pale, too pale, and her movements were jerky, unnatural, like a puppet on strings. "Lucy," I repeated, my voice louder, more desperate. She didn't respond. Instead, she took a step toward me, her mouth opening slightly. I saw something shift behind her eyes, something dark. The air around her felt colder, like the temperature had dropped the moment she appeared. I backed away slowly. "Lucy, what happened to you? Are you okay?" No answer. Her eyes locked onto mine, unblinking, as she moved closer. That's when I noticed the black liquid. It wasn't just dripping from her clothes. It was leaking from her mouth, her nose, even her eyes, like the pool was trying to escape through her skin. Then she smiled. But it wasn't Lucy's smile. It was twisted, like someone had stretched her mouth too wide, the corners pulling up into an unnatural grin. "Join us," she whispered, her voice a strange, garbled echo of itself. "The water is calling you." My stomach churned. I took another step back, but Lucy, or whatever was controlling her, lunged forward, her hand shooting out to grab me. Her grip was ice cold, her fingers digging into my arm with inhuman strength. I screamed, yanking my arm free and stumbling backward. She staggered but didn't stop, her eyes now glowing with some weird light. "Come with me," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's so peaceful in the dark." I turned and ran, my feet pounding against the pavement as I sprinted back toward the dorm. I could hear Lucy behind me, her wet footsteps slapping against the ground, but I didn't dare look back. My lungs burned, my muscles screamed for relief, but I kept running. I had to get away from her, from it. I burst into the dorm, slamming the door behind me and locking it. My chest heaved as I leaned against the door, trying to catch my breath, but the fear gnawed at me. What had happened to her? Was it the pool? Did the others come back too? I hurried to my room and shoved my desk in front of the door. It wasn't much, but it was better than nothing. I collapsed onto my bed, my heart still pounding, and tried to think. Something terrible was happening beneath the campus. That black pool wasn't just water, it was alive, pulling people in, turning them into whatever Lucy had become. I needed to figure out what it was, and fast, before more people got taken. But where would I start? Suddenly, there was a loud thump against my door. I froze, my body going rigid. Another thump, followed by a low, creepy growl. I grabbed my phone, praying the signal had come back. Still nothing. My only hope was to barricade myself inside until morning. But the noise at the door told me I didn't have that much time. Then, from the other side of the door, I heard Lucy's voice, soft, almost sweet. "Let me in, please," she whispered. "It's just me. I'm not going to hurt you." My blood turned to ice. I swallowed, forcing myself to speak. "You're not Lucy anymore. What are you?" Silence. Then, the sound of nails scratching against the wood, slow, deliberate. "You'll know soon enough," she said, her voice darker now. "We all go back to the water eventually." I backed away from the door, my mind racing. I needed a way out, a plan. The pool wasn't just some freaky supernatural occurrence. It was part of something bigger, something ancient and evil. If I could figure out how to stop it, maybe I could save Lucy and the others. But time was running out, and whatever had taken over my friend wasn't going to wait for long. Another thump, louder this time. The door creaked as something heavy pressed against it. I turned, my eyes scanning the room for anything that could help. My gaze landed on my laptop. Maybe I could find something, some clue about the pool, the history of this campus, anything to give me an edge. I grabbed it and started typing furiously, my fingers trembling over the keys. Whatever was out there wasn't going to wait forever. The darkness was coming for me, and I had to be ready.